Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the show that helps you get smart, fast, by digging right into the source material.
Yeah, we cut through the noise for you.
And if you're interested in, investing, building wealth, or maybe just making better decisions in general, you are definitely in the right place today.
Absolutely. Because for this deep dive, we are tackling a giant, Charlie T. Munger. Our main source is that fantastic collection, Poor Charlie's Almanack, edited by Peter Kaufman.
Right. Specifically, the audio version narrated by Grover Gardner brings Munger's personality right through.
It really does. And our goal here is to unpack what made Munger, his unique thinking, his investment approach, and those sort of timeless life lessons underneath it all.
Yeah, it's more than just finance, isn't it? It's like a whole operating system for thinking.
Totally. And you get that sense right away. I mean, Warren Buffett, in the foreword, doesn't just call him a partner. He talks about Munger demanding this, intense intellectual honesty.
And wit, too, right? John Collison mentions that sharp wit and just blunt candor. He didn't really mince words.
Not at all.
Yeah.
But beyond the personality, the foundation is this incredible multidisciplinary mind. He wasn't your typical finance guy.
No, he was self-taught, pulling ideas from everywhere. Math, physics, biology, history, psychology, especially psychology.
Exactly. And that leads to his famous idea of the lattice work of knowledge. You can't understand complex things like a business or an economy through just one narrow lens.
Okay, so you need multiple viewpoints. He estimated, about 100 key ideas?
Yeah, around 100 mental models from different fields. Think of them like tools. You face a problem, you run it through different models, physics, biology, psychology, to see it from all angles.
It's like trying to understand a building. You need the architect's view, the engineers, the electricians, all of them.
Precisely. Or a bridge engineer needs physics, sure, but also metallurgy, geology, maybe even understanding traffic patterns.
Yeah.
Munger applied that broad thinking everywhere. It helps, manage the chaos.
And supporting that intellectual side were these really strong core principles: preparation, patience, discipline, objectivity. Seems like they were just baked into who he was.
Oh, completely. They're the bedrock. The book's got these great little stories from his kids that show it, like reliability.
Right, the borrowed car story.
Yeah, Charles Jr. tells it. Borrowed car, half a tank of gas, they're rushing, but Munger insists on filling it up before returning it. Always return a borrowed car with a full tank.
It seems simple, but it's about trust, isn't it? That consistency.
Exactly. Building that trust capital. Reliability isn't just big promises. It's those small, dependable actions.
And then there were the downward spiral tales his daughter Wendy mentioned.
Oh yeah, those cautionary stories at dinner. Often funny, but with a serious point. Avoid the start of the slippery slope. Don't make that first small compromise.
Because it just gets worse from there. It ties into learning from mistakes too, right? Especially other people's mistakes.
Huge theme for him. Why pay the price yourself? He loved this story of the finance guy who messed up, but kept his job because he owned it immediately.
Instead of covering it up, that honesty facing reality.
Crucial. Covering up just digs the hole deeper, almost always.
And you can't ignore his legendary focus, the Chinese wall ability his son David described.
Yeah, incredible concentration, tuning out everything else, just diving deep into reports or plans, even with chaos around him. That's a superpower.
His son Barry mentioned the early mornings just studying Standard & Poor's reports for hours. That discipline.
And Philip talked about his preference for durable things, like the Brooks Brothers clothes, things built to last. You can see how that connects to his view on businesses, too.
Definitely. These habits and principles, they really enabled his thinking. Which brings us to one of his most powerful tools.
Inversion.
Ah, yes. Invert. Always invert. Comes from that old joke about the guy wanting to know where he'll die, so he never goes there.
Sounds silly, but he turned it into a serious problem-solving method. Totally. Instead of asking, how do I succeed? Ask what guarantees failure. Figure out all the ways to screw things up, and then just don't do them.
Like Johnny Carson's list for misery. Chemicals, envy, resentment. Munger added things like being unreliable, not learning from others' mistakes.
Right. Avoid the negatives. By dodging the big, stupid mistakes, you dramatically improve your odds. In investing, it means asking first, how could I lose money here?
Avoid obvious risks, shady people, businesses you don't get.
Exactly. Avoid situations where your own psychology might trip you up.
Okay, so strong principles, intense focus, this multi-tool mental kit, and inversion. How does that all come together when he's actually, looking at investments?
It leads to a process that's fundamentally simple on the surface, but requires deep, rigorous thought underneath. No fancy math, really, just fundamental analysis through that disciplined lens.
He had the three-basket sorting system, right?
Yeah, super simple. Basket 1, yes.
Yeah.
Potential winners, things he understands. Basket 2, no. Obvious bad ideas or outside his expertise.
And basket 3, too tough to understand.
And that too tough basket is key. He'd throw huge sectors in there, complex tech, pharma, if he felt he couldn't truly grasp the long-term dynamics or risks.
So, unlike most people trying to understand everything, he was ruthless about admitting what he didn't know.
Absolutely ruthless. It saved him enormous time and energy. Focus only where you might actually have an edge. Why waste time on things you can't possibly figure out better than the next guy?
Makes sense. So for the few that land in the yes pile, what's the evaluation look like then?
That's where the mental models go to work. He's looking hard at the business's competitive advantage. The moat, as he calls it.
How strong is the defense?
Exactly. How wide is that moat? How deep? And crucially, how durable is it against what he called competitive destruction forces?
Sounds intense. What are those forces, practically?
Think anything that can wear down that advantage. New technology, like Netflix versus Blockbuster. Changing tastes, like online shopping, hitting traditional retail. Regulation, price wars, new competitors.
So he's using all those different mental models, biology, history, whatever, to stress test that moat. See if it will last for decades.
That's the idea. And he definitely didn't trust the company's numbers at face value.
Right, skepticism towards financial reports.
Huge skepticism. He'd often redo the math himself, trying to get to the real underlying economics, the actual free or owner's cash.
Owner's cash. How's that different from just like profit?
Think of it personally. Your salary is like your profit,
Yeah.
but your owner's cash is what's left after all your bills are paid, and you've set aside money for necessary stuff like fixing your car or house.
Okay, the truly free and clear money.
Exactly. For a business, it's the cash left after operating costs and the money needed just to maintain its current state, keep the factories running, replace old equipment. That's the cash that can actually go to owners or fuel real growth or pay down debt. It's often way different from reported profit. Understanding that difference is critical.
And this ties into another huge piece, maybe the most Munger-esque piece. Psychology, understanding human misjudgment.
Oh, absolutely central. He had this two-track analysis idea. Track 1, the rational stuff, numbers, market, business model.
Track 2.
Track 2,
Yeah.
the subconscious stuff, the psychological biases that mess everyone up, including yourself. He laid out, what, 25 of them in Talk 11?
25. That's a minefield. Any big ones he flagged for investors particularly?
Well, they're all pitfalls, but he often hit on things like social proof, just following the herd, even off a cliff,
FOMO investing.
basically. Also, envy, jealousy, making bad choices because someone else is getting rich.
Yeah.
And consistency bias, sticking with a bad idea just because you already committed to it.
Throwing good money after bad.
Precisely. Understanding these forces in yourself and in the market is vital. They can totally derail rational thought. It's like fighting Ben Graham's Mr. Market, the moody, irrational partner. Resisting those psychological traps is key to staying objective.
So knowing what not to do, avoiding those psychological traps, that shakes his actual investment style, right? Patience, focus, conviction.
Leads directly to it. Because finding those rare gems understandable, great businesses, durable moats, fair price, takes intense filtering. Opportunities are few and far between.
So when he finds one,
He doesn't nibble. He makes a big, concentrated bet. If it passes all the tests and is in his circle of competence, he acts decisively. Great chances don't come often, so you seize them.
and then patience, lots of it.
He called it, sit on your ass investing. Buy a great business at a fair price, and then, ideally, hold it forever, or at least for a very, very long time.
Avoids all the trading costs, taxes.
And lets compounding do its thing, that eighth wonder of the world. It requires incredible discipline, especially when markets are going wild or everyone else is trading frantically.
Looks like inactivity, but it's not.
No, the hard work is continuous, he'd say. The reading, thinking, learning, waiting. He even used checklists, remember, from Talk 5, especially for those close calls, to make sure you didn't miss anything crucial before pulling the trigger.
It's a whole system, rigor, patience, and then selective, decisive action.
And it all comes back to that core value philosophy, the one he famously taught Buffett.
Right. A great business at a fair price is superior to a fair business at a great price.
Huge shift. Moved Buffett from buying cheap cigar butts to buying wonderful companies. The long-term compounding power of quality outweighs a cheap entry price on mediocrity.
And if you've bought that great business, selling isn't really the main focus.
Not really. The default is hold, assuming the quality stays high. It's all built on that deep analysis, patience, and belief in long-term quality.
Okay, so let's try to wrap this deep dive on poor Charlie's Almanack. The big takeaways seem to be: build that broad mental toolkit, live by core principles like reliability and honesty, know your psychological weaknesses, and avoid them.
And then apply radical patience, focus, and conviction to investing in those rare, truly great opportunities.
It's definitely not a magic formula. It's about relentless learning, rigorous thinking, and frankly, a lot of self-control.
Yeah, building the right temperament might be the hardest part.
So here's a final thought for you to chew on, something Munger himself pointed out. He said something like, look, quantum mechanics, probably impossible for most people to truly grasp, but reliability. Almost anyone can learn to be reliable, and the advantage is huge.
Interesting contrast.
So the question is, what happens if you focus on mastering those seemingly simple, almost old-fashioned virtues, reliability, patience, honesty, avoiding envy, and apply them consistently? How might that compound in your life, not just financially, but in other important ways too?
That's a great question to ponder. Really makes you think.
Thanks for joining us for this